Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about something I hear from a lot of folks who are looking to move to Wyoming, and that's buying acreage property around the Casper area. If you're dreaming of open space, elbow room, maybe horses or a big shop or outbuilding, this one's for you. But as always, the reality is a bit more nuanced than buy land and do whatever you want. So with that, let's dig on in. But first, I'm Summer, a transplant and local realtor to Casper, Wyoming in 2021. And I help families and individuals like you make the move every single day. And my goal is to arm you with everything that you want and need to know about living in Casper, Wyoming. So don't be a stranger. When the time is right, reach out at the number or email below. You know that I would love to help you. Feel free to call, text, or email me whenever you want. Also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to stay on top of all things Casper. Now, it's not hard to fall in love with the idea of Wyoming equals freedom, right? But freedom also doesn't equal license. I'll be honest, one of the first properties that my husband and I had our hearts set on when we moved here was a beautiful bi-level home on 3 acres with an amazing mountain view. The home ended up going under contract the same day that we were writing an offer on the home, but I definitely saw through that process the allure to country living after, seeing that home and falling in love with it. For many, they think I'll buy a few acres and build a shop, keep animals, and maybe run a small business, and no one will bother me or tell me what to do. And to an extent, yes, you can get more space and freedom here than living in a big city or the suburbs. But, and there is a big but, there are still zoning rules and subdivision covenants, HOAs, or road maintenance fees, utilities, and road access issues that can surprise you if you don't check them first. So when you see an acreage property in Casper, here are a few things to ask up front. What is the zoning of this parcel? Because that affects what you can and can't build. Are there private covenants or HOA dues? Because yes, even in rural living, there are HOAs and covenants. What utilities or road access exists? Are you far off from the road? Is road plowing in the winter an issue? What amount of time and energy do you want to devote to tending to this land? And how close do you want to be to town? And will this land require additional heavy equipment to maintain, like a tractor or a skid steer? Okay, so let's talk about zoning because this is foundational. If you are inside of the city limits of Casper, Wyoming, there are municipal zoning classifications such as R1, R2, and AG. If the parcel is in the unincorporated parts of Natrona County, the county zoning code applies. For instance, districts like RAM, RAM, ranching and agricultural mining, UA, urban agricultural, and RR1 and RR2. And it's important to verify the zoning of the property fits what you have in mind for it. Now, why does this matter? Because if you buy acreage intending to keep a few horses or build a large shop, maybe run a little business from your land, you'll want the zoning to allow for those things. For example, in more restrictive residential zones, you might be limited on what size of outbuildings you can have, whether you can have farm animals, or whether you can run a business from the site. Now, when people do buy acreage, they often neglect certain key issues, such as waste and wastewater. On big acreage, you may be on well water or a rural water system and a septic instead of city sewer. Before you fall in love with a property, it's important to know the water source and whether the property is on a septic system and knowing where the leach field is for that property. Also, asking questions like when the septic was last pumped or how deep the well is and what the gallons per minute are on the well are super important. Understanding the age of these systems is also really important. Older systems or inadequate soils can mean big costs to replace or upgrade. Replacing a well pump, for example, can cost a few $1,000s. It's also really important to consider road and access issues. If you are way back from the main road, we want to know who maintains the road. Is there a private road with dues? In the winter, is emergency access reliable? It's also important to consider if you are comfortable getting up early before work, if you are still working, to manage clearing the snow from your driveway, or if you have the resources to mow a defensible space around your property in the summertime for fire mitigation. It's these little things that we often forget that make a big difference in the use and and enjoyment of the land. Another item that you have to consider is trash service. Trash service usually does not exist in rural properties unless you pay for a hauling service. Now, in my opinion, that is money well spent, but I guess some people don't mind hauling out their own trash either. Acreage in Casper and our surrounding areas typically means more commute time, more travel when you need supplies, and maybe less reliable service such as internet, cell phone service, or home mail delivery. You will also want to consider future development of the surrounding properties. Even if you buy now and it's a quiet pasture, we need to ask what is next door. Will someone subdivide that field into half-acre lots? Will commercial or industrial uses come into play? Because your quiet view could quickly change. So if buying an acreage property is something that you are interested in, let me share a few popular communities to explore in Casper and the surrounding areas. Okay, let's start with Vista West. Located just west of Casper, many buyers like that you can get larger lots, gorgeous views, and still be pretty close to town. People love Vista West for its quiet, established charm and big trees. We just have to be aware of certain things in areas like Vista West, such as their covenants, road agreements, and HOA. Westland Park is also a subdivision located off of CY Ave where semi-rural living is possible. You'll likely still have rules around lot size, building design, but you're on city water and sewer with a mountain view, which is a very nice perk. Skyline Ranches is also another semi-rural option off of CY Ave and near Westland Park. This is another option for buyers looking for more space and nice views. Here again though, we do need to check the covenants and what size of animals you can keep in that area and what restrictions are around outbuildings. Webb Creek Ranches is a bit further out and has a more rural feeling. This area is a solid subdivision if you want more acreage and more separation. And if you're looking for newer homes on acreage, Platteview Estates in Mills has got you covered. This subdivision is near the new Wyoming Classical Academy site, and it's also close to the Belt Loop for quick access across town. Just remember though, being in a newer subdivision can mean modern infrastructure, but it also means more unknowns around unfinished roads, future phases, and build-outs of unconstructed adjacent lots. Another community to consider that has acreage is the up-and-coming Ridge West community in Mills. These lots are going to be 1 to 2 acres and should be released sometime next year. Now, if you get in early, you might be able to get a better value, but also just keep in mind that with a new subdivision, you have a little more uncertainty in terms of what the final plans may look like, road construction. So it's important to check the plat map and study the covenants and ask all of the questions for what's to come. Other areas near Casper with great acreage include BB Brooks and Evansville. These are more rural outlying communities with acreages, but the freedom marker is much higher in these areas, but so is that you're responsible for lots of things as well. Road access, snow plowing, utilities, distance to town, and all these things are items to consider in moving to those further out areas. So to wrap up, just because you're out in the country doesn't mean that there are no rules. Many subdivisions out here include covenants, fees for road maintenance, or fees for like cluster mailboxes, or maybe even a general governing HOA. Mailboxes in some of these rural subdivisions may be cluster mailboxes, or they might just be a PO box that you have to check at your local post office. Covenants may include restrictions on the number and types of animals you may have, trailer or vehicle parking, shop size, appearance, or even house size. So here is a quick checklist to keep handy when you're looking at acreage near Casper. Number 1, zoning. What district is it in? What are the permitted uses for that lot? Number 2, lot size and shape. Larger acreage often means more flexibility, but also more maintenance. Number 3, utilities. Is the property on well water, rural water, a septic system, or city sewer? How is the internet and cell phone service? Number 4, access and roads. Are the roads paved, registered, public, or private? Who plows in the winter? Number 5, animals and outbuildings, business usage. If you want horses, a big shop, or maybe a small business, check the covenants and HOA and zoning. Number 6, covenants and HOAs. Ask for the governing documents, dues, restrictions, and how those are enforced. Number 7, adjacent land uses and future development. What will your neighbors do? Are those fields slated for subdivision or commercial? And number 8, inspection of existing infrastructure. If there's a well, test it to make sure that you understand understand the quality of the water. If there's a septic system, make sure to inspect it. And number 9, winter planning. Remember, the farther out you are from town, the more you will have to deal with what winter throws your way in getting to town. And number 10, legal document review. Again, we need to check the covenants, the plat maps, area restrictions, and review any potential easements. All right, friends, so to wrap up, buying acreage near Casper, Wyoming can give you the freedom and space that you are after, but don't think of it as a free-for-all. It still takes homework. Zoning matters, covenants matter, utilities, roads, and land access all matter. In fact, these things matter almost more in rural properties than they do in more residential properties. But here's the good thing. If you keep your checklist handy and you ask the right questions and you lean on a local agent who understands how to properly guide you, you'll be in much better shape to buy something that you will enjoy for years to come. Now, with that, please take care, and I will see you in the next one.